You know, it's hard not to be completely captivated by what's happening in Gaza right now.
Yeah.
The world is watching, and it's not just because of the conflict.
Mm-hmm.
You see, it's the resilience
Yeah.
amidst all the devastation and the faith, particularly among the Muslim population.
Absolutely.
It's like this paradox almost.
Right.
You know? We see these images of just unimaginable hardship,
Yeah.
yet this unwavering hope shines through.
It is a striking juxtaposition for sure.
It is.
You know, you hear Gaza being described as like an open-air prison or even a concentration camp.
Right.
You hear reports about the severe lack of basic necessities and the targeted attacks.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, you see this incredible spirit, this focus on gratitude and this unwavering belief in the afterlife.
It really makes you wonder, what is the source of that strength?
It does.
What is fueling this?
Yeah.
So today, that's what we are going to try to explore.
Yeah.
What's driving this phenomenon?
Okay.
We're going to take a close look at how the Quran shapes this resilience and why it seems to be drawing so many people to it.
Interesting.
Even those who maybe haven't considered themselves to be particularly religious before.
It's certainly a fascinating look into the power of faith,
It is.
especially when we talk about the face of suffering.
Yeah, I think what's really striking for me is that we have access to so many different perspectives on this. We have these firsthand accounts from journalists who are reporting on the ground.
Yeah.
We have research from organizations like the Yaqeen Institute.
Right.
And we even have all these social media posts from people who are actually living through this in Gaza.
Absolutely. And people watching from all over the world, too.
Exactly. It's this really incredible mix of these heartbreaking realities,
Yeah.
but also these inspiring stories of faith.
It's true. The source material that we have really does paint a vivid picture of what life is like in Gaza right now.
It does.
You know, you really get a sense of the constant threat of violence, the trauma of losing loved ones, and the everyday struggle for basic survival. But then you also see how people are finding solace and strength through their faith.
It's like they're drawing on something much deeper,
Yes.
something beyond this material world.
I think that's a key point.
Okay.
You know, in Islamic beliefs, particularly the focus on this eternal reward of paradise, you know, that provides a framework for understanding suffering.
Okay.
It's not about ignoring the pain or pretending it doesn't exist,
Right.
but it's about seeing it through a different lens. It's about finding meaning.
I am thinking about Khalid's story.
Oh, yes.
This grandfather.
Yes.
He lost two of his young grandchildren,
Awful.
Reem and Tarek, in a bombing.
Yes, a terrible story.
Just unimaginable grief.
It is.
And yet he doesn't succumb to despair.
No.
He continues to comfort others.
Yeah.
He leads prayers. He even reassures this young girl who just lost her leg.
Such strength.
I know.
Khalid's story, I think, really does encapsulate this idea of, you know, finding meaning and purpose through faith. You know, he sees the death of his grandchildren as a test from God,
Okay.
a trial that needs to be endured with patience and gratitude.
Right.
And it's through his faith that he's able to not only cope with his own grief,
Yeah.
but also become the source of strength for so many others.
His story is just so powerful because it shows how, for many in Gaza, their faith isn't just a set of beliefs.
Right.
It's a lived experience that really shapes their actions even in the darkest of times.
Absolutely. It's not just theoretical.
Yeah.
It's about how you translate that belief into action,
Right.
into resilience and community support.
Absolutely. And speaking of sources of strength, let's talk about the Quran itself.
Okay.
For the people of Gaza, it's clearly so much more than just a book.
Yeah.
I mean, we see this in the high proportion of Quran memorizers there,
Mm-hmm.
and the Quran study and memorization events that they organize,
Right.
even in the middle of conflict.
Yeah. It's remarkable.
It really does seem to be a lifeline for them.
Yeah, the Quran holds this unique position in Islam. It is considered to be the literal word of God, revealed to the Prophet Muhammad.
Got it.
And Muslims turn to it for guidance, comfort, and strength.
Mm-hmm.
It provides answers to life's big questions and offers solace in times of hardship.
So it's not just about rote memorization then.
Right.
It's about internalizing the messages,
Yeah,
finding solace and direction in the verses.
exactly. The Quran plays a central role in their daily lives.
Okay.
It shapes their worldview, their values, and their actions.
This brings us to a trend that I find particularly fascinating,
Okay.
and that is people around the world, inspired by the people of Gaza, are turning to the Quran.
Interesting.
And it's not just those who are already familiar with Islam.
That's right. It's this ripple effect.
It is.
You know, the resilience and the faith of the Palestinians,
Yeah.
especially in the face of such adversity,
Right.
has sparked a genuine curiosity, I think, in a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, they're drawn to that inner strength,
Mm.
the unwavering belief, the sense of community,
Right,
and
and
support.
like Megan Rice.
Yes.
You know, she's this avid reader and content creator.
Uh-huh.
Initially, she was really just captivated by the resilience she saw in Gaza.
Mm-hmm.
And she had this virtual world religion book club on TikTok.
Interesting.
And she decided she wanted to read the Quran for the first time.
Okay.
So she did. And rather quickly,
Yeah.
she found herself really resonating with its messages.
It's powerful.
It is. She was initially skeptical,
Yeah.
but then she realized that many of the Quran's teachings aligned with her own values.
Right.
I understand she was particularly struck by the Quran's stance against things like excessive consumerism and oppression.
Yeah, those themes really challenged her preconceived notions about Islam,
Right.
that it's somehow a rigid or austere religion.
And so within a month of reading the Quran,
Wow.
Megan decided to take her Shahada.
That's amazing. Could you explain what
Yeah.
the Shahadat is?
Sure. So the Shahada is the Islamic declaration of faith. So it's basically the statement, there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah.
Got it.
It's the foundation of Islamic belief and the first step in formally embracing Islam.
That's powerful.
It makes you realize the depth of the impact that the Quran had on her.
Yeah,
And Megan's story is far from unique.
that's right. We see a very similar journey
We do.
with Nefertari Moon.
Okay.
She was married to a non-practicing Muslim
Right.
and considered herself to be spiritual but not religious.
Okay, so what prompted her to even explore the Quran?
You know, she wanted to understand the source of strength
Uh-huh.
that allowed Palestinians to call out to Allah when they were staring death in the face.
Wow.
Her own husband couldn't explain it, so
Yeah.
she decided she had to seek it out herself.
That's a profound quest for understanding.
Is.
And did she find what she was looking for?
You know, she describes this powerful emotional connection with the
Oh.
Quran's verses,
Wow.
a connection that ultimately led her to embrace Islam as well.
These stories are just so compelling.
They are.
What stands out to you the most about them?
I think for me, it's the genuine curiosity, you know, this willingness to look beyond preconceptions
Right.
and engage with a text that so many people might have just initially dismissed.
Yeah.
It points to an openness, a desire to understand something profound
Right.
that's unfolding right before their eyes,
Yeah.
which is pretty amazing.
I agree. Yeah, it really makes you think, like, why would the Quran resonate so strongly
Mm-hmm.
with people who weren't even looking for religious conversion?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like there's this huge campaign out there to try and convert people to Islam.
Right.
There's something else that's drawing them in.
I think this is where those universal themes of the Quran really come into play.
Okay.
Like the themes of justice and mercy,
Yeah.
social responsibility, and finding meaning beyond just material possessions.
Right.
Those themes, I think, resonate really deeply with so many people, especially in a world that oftentimes seems so fixated on injustice and conflict and just accumulating wealth.
It's like the people of Gaza, they've been stripped of so many worldly possessions
Right.
that they're almost embodying a different set of values. You know,
Yeah.
like a different way of being in the world.
It's powerful.
It is.
It really challenges our assumptions about what truly matters.
Right.
You know, where we find meaning and purpose.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Of course, not everyone is convinced by these stories of conversion.
Yeah.
We are seeing quite a bit of skepticism,
Mm.
particularly on social media,
Right.
with some people questioning the sincerity of these conversions.
Yeah. Some commentators like Jessica Roy from New Lines magazine,
Right.
she worries that these conversions are fleeting,
Okay.
driven by a quest for maybe identity or solidarity
Right.
rather than genuine faith.
So how do we even distinguish between performative belief and genuine faith?
Well, I think with performative belief, the focus is much more on outward appearances
Mm-hmm.
and conforming to social pressure
Right.
rather than, you know, genuine internal change.
Right.
But I think it's also crucial to avoid generalizations.
Yeah.
You know, we can't dismiss someone's sincerity simply because they shared their journey online.
We can't.
Yeah,
We have to remember that everyone's journey is unique.
it is.
And, you know, we do have perspectives from recent converts who are pushing back against this skepticism.
Right.
Like Clark Jones.
Yeah.
He was actually raised in the Church of Christ.
Okay.
And he said that while the situation in Palestine did prompt him to read the Quran. It was the actual content of the Quran that resonated with his existing beliefs that led him to convert.
Right. So it wasn't just like a knee-jerk reaction.
Exactly. It was really about the message.
Yeah.
And, his experience really shows that the Quran can be a catalyst for spiritual exploration.
Yeah.
Even for people who already have religious backgrounds.
Absolutely. It's not about erasing the past.
Right.
But it's about finding a deeper meaning and connection.
I found Jamie Rosario's story to be particularly touching.
Oh, yeah.
She spoke about finding peace and hope in Islam.
Okay.
After she went through a divorce and a lot of major life changes.
Oh, tough time.
And for her, the Quran and the Muslim community provided a sense of belonging and purpose when she really felt lost.
That's beautiful.
It is. And I think this is where that Islamic concept of individual accountability really comes in.
Yes.
The Quran really emphasizes this idea of sincere intention and personal responsibility before God.
It's not about blind faith or conforming to external pressure. It's really about internal transformation that guides your actions.
So how does this internal transformation even work?
Yeah.
Like, how does the Quran actually change people's lives?
Well, the Quran places a strong emphasis on the heart as the center of faith and transformation.
Okay.
So it's not just about intellectual understanding,
Got it.
but it's about purifying your intentions, cultivating virtues,
aligning your desires with God's will.
The scholar, Ibn Taymiyyah, describes the Quran as a healing for the heart.
I love that.
It's a great analogy.
Yeah.
He says it removes the sickness of doubt and desire and allows the heart to see things as they truly are.
Wow.
To desire what is good and beneficial.
Beautiful.
It is. And that kind of brings us back to the people in Gaza.
Yeah.
Their resilience, their unwavering faith, their focus on that eternal reward of paradise. It makes sense when you understand this idea of inner transformation.
It does. It's not simply about coping with hardship.
Right.
It's about finding that strength and purpose through their connection with God.
Yeah.
Through the guidance of the Quran.
This leads us to, I think, a bigger question.
Right.
What is the broader relevance of the Quran's message? How does it speak to the challenges we face today beyond the specific context of Gaza?
Well, the Quran offers this timeless guidance for navigating really complex situations and upholding ethical principles.
Right. It addresses issues of justice, mercy, social responsibility, environmental stewardship, the importance of seeking knowledge.
Right.
These themes are as relevant today as they were, centuries ago.
There are some really striking Quranic verses that resonate really deeply with current events. Like, for instance, there's a verse that warns against those who spread corruption while claiming peacemaking.
Oh, wow.
And that's just this chillingly accurate description of, people who perpetuate violence and injustice while hiding behind seemingly good intentions.
Wow, that verse is especially relevant today.
I think so.
Given all the complexities of the situation in Gaza and the broader geopolitical landscape, it reminds us to be discerning, to look beyond just surface-level rhetoric, and examine the actions and intentions behind the words.
Absolutely. Another verse speaks about this balance between retribution and forgiveness.
Okay.
In the face of injustice.
Yeah.
Highlighting how important it is to seek justice, while also encouraging compassion and reconciliation.
It's a nuanced approach.
It is.
That challenges us to rise above just that desire for revenge. And strive for a higher moral ground, even when we're confronted with terrible wrongs.
And there are also verses that highlight the importance of piety and good character.
Right.
Challenging stereotypes.
Yes.
And emphasizing the values of honesty, integrity, compassion, and generosity.
Those values are so desperately needed in the world today.
I agree.
Which is often driven by self-interest and greed.
Absolutely. And these verses really remind us that the Quran's message isn't confined to one particular time or place. It speaks to this human condition, offering guidance for individuals and societies that are striving for justice and peace. And a meaningful life.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like it's holding up this mirror, forcing us to confront our own shortcomings and consider a different way of living.
Exactly. And this connection between the Quran's message and the challenges of our time, it's not unique to today.
Yeah, right.
We see similar patterns throughout history, especially when we look at the stories of, those who were among the first to embrace Islam.
That's right.
Yeah.
The source material mentioned some pretty incredible stories.
Yes.
From those early days of Islam.
Yeah.
These individuals whose lives were completely transformed by the Qur'an.
Right.
And then went on to play really significant roles in sharing the message of Islam.
Absolutely. Their stories offer this incredible glimpse
Yeah.
into how enduring the Qur'an's message really is, you know?
Right.
This ability to resonate with people across different eras and cultures, spark this profound personal change,
right,
and then contribute to the growth of the Muslim community.
One that really stands out to me is the story of Musab ibn Umair.
Oh, yes.
You know, this young man from a wealthy and influential family in Mecca. And he was just captivated by the beauty of the Qur'an's message.
Right.
He embraced Islam even though it meant going against his family.
Yeah, his family was strongly opposed to it.
They were. And he willingly gave up his wealth and status to dedicate his life to spreading Islam.
It's a powerful example of the transformative power of faith.
It is.
You know, he recognized a higher purpose.
Right.
A truth that transcended all those worldly possessions and social standing.
And then there's Tufail ibn Namr.
Yes.
A tribal leader who was known for his intelligence and eloquence. But he was initially resistant to Islam.
Yeah.
But eventually he was captivated by the Qur'an's verses and embraced the faith.
And went on to become a key figure in spreading Islam among his own tribe.
He did.
It's a great example of the power of genuine curiosity.
It is.
And that willingness to challenge your own preconceived notions.
And of course, we can't forget the dramatic conversion of Umar ibn al-Khattab.
Oh my goodness, yes.
He was such a staunch opponent of Islam.
He was.
Even threatened to kill the Prophet Muhammad.
I know, but then when he heard his sister reciting verses from the Qur'an, something shifted within him.
Yeah, and he embraced Islam.
His transformation is one of the most dramatic examples.
It is.
Of the Qur'an's ability to just change hearts and minds.
And he went on to become one of the most influential leaders in Islamic history.
He did.
Known for his justice and piety.
That's right.
These early converts.
Yeah.
Much like many people today, they found in the Qur'an this source of guidance and meaning and purpose.
Yes.
Their stories, I think, really offer a window.
They do.
Into that timeless appeal of its message.
Yes.
And its ability to inspire not only personal transformation, but also really shape the course of history.
I agree.
So where does this all leave us? You know, we've seen how the Qur'an serves as this incredible source of strength and guidance for the people in Gaza.
Yes.
Fueling their resilience in the face of unimaginable hardship.
Absolutely.
And it's been fascinating to see how this is resonating with people all around the world.
It has.
Sparking curiosity and even leading some to embrace Islam.
Yeah. You know what I find truly remarkable is how the Qur'an, this text revealed centuries ago, speaks to the human condition in a way that transcends time and culture.
It does.
You know, it offers solace in times of suffering. It inspires hope in the face of despair. And guides individuals and societies towards a path of justice and compassion and meaning.
It really does. And it raises a really important question for all of us.
It does. What is it?
What does this global interest in the Qur'an tell us about the human search for meaning and purpose? In a world that's increasingly filled with uncertainty and conflict.
Such a good question.
It is something for all of us to ponder.
Absolutely.
And if you found this exploration thought-provoking, I encourage you to delve even deeper. Read some of those Quranic verses that we discussed today. Learn more about the stories of the individuals that we've been talking about. And maybe even reach out to someone from the Muslim community. To hear their perspective firsthand.